Well, it's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the interview with Craig Veltri.
Thank you, Megan Pennington. And welcome to the interview. Originally from Schaumburg, Illinois, our guest is a country singer songwriter whose clever lyrics and easing voice has been turning heads in Nashville, Tennessee. Her entire output, especially her 2023 EP Dandelion, showcases a versatility of melody and very compelling lyrics that often uplifts and at the same time can turn some old country tropes on its proverbial head. The video for her single Heat of the Moment, which we will show at the end of this video and you will hear it on the audio version, is a fun, upbeat song with the right amount of sexual tension. And the video itself showcases the city of Chicago quite well, if not showing its subject and writer in the brightest light possible. Recording in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and calling in from Nashville, Tennessee. Here she is, Brina Kay. Brina, welcome to the interview.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure's definitely all mine. So, Schaumburg, Chicago, Illinois, which it's about 30 miles outside of it. I not known exactly for its country. Not a lot of country singers tend to come from the Chicagoland area. So, what was it about that music and that you tend to lean into it? Would you say you are a country artist?
Yeah, so in Nashville, you kind of workshop your like elevator pitch for yourself, right? And so I kind of landed on like country pop with musical theater influence because I have like a theater background. So it's kind of like a mix of all of those things. But I got into country because when I was a little kid, my mom had the Chicks CD for the home album, and like Traveling
You've
Soldier
name
was like,
checked Natalie Maines as an influence.
oh yes, no, I love her. But yeah, so we had that album, and that's what, before everything was iPhones and stuff, that was just what we would listen to in the car. And Traveling Soldier became like my audition song for everything when I was doing musicals and things. So I think that's kind of just where it started. And then I don't know, I've just always liked country music because it is like it's very big on storytelling, and that's like, I have like a writing background too, and was always pretty proficient in like language arts. So I think I just really love that aspect of like the music is telling a story. It's not always about like, hitting the highest whistle note or like, the craziest beats, but like, telling a story about the human experiences that like connect us all. So I think that's what really drew me to the genre.
Well, you are able to dance around your range very well. I'd place you high alto, low soprano. Would that be accurate as far as where your voice would sit?
Yeah, for sure. When I was in choir, I definitely was in the alto section. I've been working on my range, but definitely not, up there with those high notes. So I'm very much more comfortable in like the, like you said, alto, maybe, mezzo voice part.
Well, in terms of your writing, how early do you remember you? What was the earliest song that you recall? At what age did you start writing?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of have a different story than like a lot of like singer-songwriters. I really didn't get into like the, oh, I want to be a writer aspect until later. Because I started off as a theater kid.
Right.
So, I had like always had just a knack for like being on stage. I had a lot of energy and I liked being the center of attention. So naturally, like, being in musical theater was a great place for me. A good what's the word? Like an output, or I don't know. I don't know if that's the word I'm thinking of. But
Um, if it comes to me,
outlet.
I'll
There
throw it
we
out.
go.
Outlet. There you go.
I'm a little sleep deprived this morning, so apologize. I guess it's afternoon. Um, but yeah, so I started off in musical theater, and then kind of around like high school, that was when I wrote my first ever song. Um, and it was called, I have to go through the chorus in my mind. It was called Trapped because I remember in my English class we were talking about like um just, being stuck in like suburbia kind of like thing. We were reading a book that was talking about that, and that kind of inspired me. And I was always very like I said, proficient in writing. Like I was good at writing essays. I was good at like rhetorical analysis. So I really loved like my English classes, and I like poetry. And so then I finally kind of just decided I started messing around with it a little bit in high school, but then college is where I really was like, you kind of have that moment of like, oh, I'm gonna grow up and have a big girl job, and my life is gonna unfold. And you always, as a kid, I always dream like, oh, I'm gonna be like a singer one day. But then when you kind of get to that point of one day, you kind of realize, oh, I have to like actually really go for it. If I'm gonna do this. And you have an existential crisis, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna move to Nashville, I'm gonna try to do it. So towards like the back half of college is when I started writing songs. And uh you know I found like online like instrumentals to like put to my lyrics, because I didn't play guitar or anything. So uh I literally got like a recording of an instrumental, and I would like bring my phone and play at the coffee shops. And then I eventually connected with a band down there and was able to like have a guitar player, and then it just kind of went from there. So a little unconventional route to get there, but I've always had the music in me. And something I forgot to mention is I learned violin when I was in kindergarten, so I think that kind of gave me a basis for.
Violin was my first instrument in third grade, and though I didn't stick with it, it was instrumental, for lack of a better term, in picking up the guitar a couple of years later when I was 12 years old, 3 years later after that point. So you are from Chicago. You are a theater kid. It's not like that there wasn't ample opportunity for you to pursue that within Chicago, Second City, and just the infrastructure that's built out around the theater and film industry in that area. Was it just the muse of music was just that much more powerful? And you can act. I've seen your videos. You can
Oh,
act. is
thank
that
you.
is that something that you have put to bed? Is that something that you're still pursuing in conjunction now with your film?
I'm not pursuing it as hard as I am pursuing music. I'm definitely open. I've done a few little like extra gigs here and there. And honestly, I would love to be in another musical, at
Another
some point.
musical.
Yeah, just like I haven't been in a musical in a while, and I do kind of miss that world a little bit. I think for me, when you're growing up, you don't have your life figured out when you're younger, right? You're just kind of bopping around. So for a while in high school, I was like the sporty kid. So I kind of got away from music, because I did musical theater when I was like in grade school, and then I kind of got away from it in like middle school and high school. And it was like my whole life was cheerleading. Like I was like very obsessed with that, and then soccer. And then I kind of found my way back to it kind of towards the end of high school, and I ended up you know when it was time for college, like 18 years old, you don't really know what what you want to do with your life. At least I didn't. I was just
Mm,
like, I'm looking at schools and I'm trying to like, have a fun time. I ended up going to University of Nebraska,
why did
and
you ultimately decide Nebraska?
um, one, I did want to go out of state just because I wanted to like, have a new adventure. I'm a very adventurous person, so I wanted to like just try something different. And we
So
had
basically, you
a
chose a cornfield.
It's not just a cornfield. That's like the great thing about Nebraska is like people think it's just a cornfield, so it's kind of like a hidden gem. There's lots of corn around it, don't get me wrong, but the university is in Lincoln, which is the
I'm from
capital.
Pittsburgh, and though
So you
and
get
though
it.
I'm Pitt blue and gold through and through. There's enough fandom of Penn State that I had to at least give one knock
Ah.
to Nebraska in this interview. But ultimately, you love the experience.
Yeah, so we had a college fair like for all the area high schools, and I was looking at journalism at the time just because
Oh, they
I
have a
you
great
know
journalism
again,
school.
I'm sorry.
They do have a great journalism school.
Yeah, well, that's what, my mind at that point was like, I don't want to just like I want to have an adventurous job. I'm good at writing, so my high school self was like, okay, this is like what makes sense. So I was kind of looking at journalism schools, and I just went to like the different booths, and the booth at Nebraska, they had a great sell. Like I talked to the representative, and she kind of got me excited about it. And I really wanted to go to a college that felt like very collegiate. Like I wanted the football, I wanted the big campus, I wanted the Greek life. So um,
Did
I
you
like
rush
that.
a sorority yourself?
I did, yes.
Which one?
Find you.
I'm Theta Delta Chi myself. I still talk to a lot of the girls who were in Phi Mu and at our school. So it's
Nice. Yeah. Honestly, one of the reasons I ended up like picking that one was because it was in that one Luke Bryan song. He like renamed drops a bunch of sororities, and I was like, okay, this FIMU is in this song, so it must be a good one.
how soon after you graduated did you write Die Hard, which is one of your most recent singles, which uses a lot of fandom analogies to describe love.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually funny. Die Hard is my most recent. I think that we wrote it. We put it out in 2023, so probably around like 2022.
Mhm.
And it was actually funny because we had, we just got a new coach, Matt Rule, and we were recruiting some five. So I was like, I need to, part of the song is about like you having this unwavering belief, So me in my mind, being a diehard fan, every single year it's like we're gonna win the national championship this year. So I was like, I need to get this song out before we get good so that I don't look like a bandwagoner. So I kind of like I rushed it because I was like, hey, like we could win this year. So like I need to put the song out before, we just dominate every single year. And um, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
So and your press, your current website still bears the Husker blue or breast red. Damn, oh, jeez, forgive me on that one. But so you bring up Matt Rule and you bring up Husker football. It's been bowl eligibility at best a couple of years. Still hanging on.
yeah, I mean, it's like the musical journey, right? You come to Nashville, you don't always become the next big thing right away.
Hmm.
Some people do, like you get credit to Indiana for being able to make that happen, but sometimes it's a journey. And I think with the song, that's kind of what the theme of it is that like in a relationship, it is the journey, and there's going to be hard times and there's going to be, fun times, and you want the person who's going to stick with you through the hard times, not just like the fair weather fan, if you will. So it's kind of fun to like
I'll say this is somebody who gives up on his teams midseason when it's obvious the cause is lost. Some of us have jobs, we don't. It's fine to jump off for a season once we know that there's going to be no meaningful games after a second. But anyway, we're here with Brina Kay on the Craig-Veltri interview, proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. Check out all the great podcasts. Emmy Susani's brand new podcast, the Cool Brother Podcast with Malik Long. Mommy Rockstar is coming soon, I promise. And thank you for listening to the Craig-Veltri interview. Like, share, and subscribe. ScarfireMedia.net coming soon. Now, I mentioned Chicago is with the theater scene. There also is a pretty vibrant scene. There is some music industry, nothing like Nashville. So, why did you not decide to go to Nashville and not stay home?
well, we did like kind of talk about how I went from, like Schaumburg. I wanted to expand my horizons, go to a new place. So then I spent 4 years in Nebraska. And then after that I was kind of just deciding, what I wanted to do. And I was actually looking at like, between LA and Nashville. I don't know. I think I just like I wasn't ready to just like go back to the place that I was from. Like I love Chicago, like heat of the moment. We'll get into that later.
Mhm.
But that's literally just kind of like a love letter to Chicago. The whole thing is like a metaphor for like the city in the summertime and how fabulous it is. Um, like yeah, no, I think I still want to like I still wanted to expand my roots and try a new city, and as a young adult and just like trying to have new experiences. So I think Chicago very well could be a place that I come back to. Ideally I get like, very rich and famous, and I can have a place in Chicago and in Nashville and LA, like all, but it was a great Schaumburg itself was a great place to grow up, like right by the city. having so much to do at any time. There's just always something fun, and I was exposed to like a lot of great arts and culture, and it definitely shaped like who I became. But I think ultimately Nashville is known as like the mecca for country music, and that's kind of like the lane that I was in. So that's something I wanted to try first. But Chicago has like, I went to the Lake Shake Festival out there, and they have some cool like country music festivals and things that happen down there. So as I get more into like touring and stuff, that's definitely like my first destination. I wanna kind of lock down. So
Let's talk about your process. And I've grown to know better than just ask flat out the usual questions. Lyrics or music first, and how do you write songs? So, because I understand that it's usually case by case. So let's go case by case. My favorite song in the one of yours that I've actually just been kind of showing to a couple of my friends because of how often the problem with trying to interpolate and rewrite certain songs. I think you know where I'm going with this one. That the that whenever you call back to a classic song, you either hit it too on the nose or you completely lose the plot. And you did neither of these songs with a song called Leave That Man off of the Dandelion EP, in which you called back to Stand By Your Man, popularized by Tammy Wynette. Uh, is this a situation that you could only say by calling back to that song, or was this a, a situation of, let's turn this song on its head just for the fun of it?
Yeah, I think I was in a place in my life where all my friends were kind of just going through it with men, and it kind of came from a place of like, this is like the advice I'm giving to my friends, where it's just like, girl, just like get out of there. Like you're better than this. Like you don't have to put up with this. And you know, you gotta respect the classics, right? Like
Oh
that's a
yeah.
classic song. I'm not gonna sit here and like be like, I'm a modern woman and blah blah. Like it's a classic song, but I think what's really fun about songwriting is, exploring the opposites of things and like taking those ideas and flipping them on their head and seeing what comes of it. So I think it was kind of a combination of like that kind of writing exercise versus like what I was going through in my life, with just like, having these conversations with my girlfriends who, I think they're just like, they're the best and beautiful and talented and can get anybody, and they're complaining about getting this like bare minimum treatment from these like
Mm.
guys that should just be lucky to be breathing the same air as them. And I'm just like it just kind of came to me in that way. So
Well, you said this writing exercise, was it explicitly an exercise that you pulled from, or was it one that you were just kind of like, this would be fun, let's explore it?
yeah, more along the lines of this would be fun, let's explore. I think the chorus, I think I wrote the chorus first, and I think I just kind of had that song in my head because it is like, something we are socialized as women is to like, really value relationships and having a boyfriend, and like that's like a symbol of status, and boys will be boys. There's just a lot like societally that tells us to like stand by our man. So I
Well,
think I just wanted to like explore the opposite of that. And I think it's a transformational way to say something new with something old. And I think it's just like that's one of the clever fun things about songwriting, and one of the things I like about country music songwriting. I remember I went to I met with this songwriting group where we would kind of give each other critiques, and there was someone who had done kind of an opposites exercise, and wrote this really incredible song where the hook was free your horses. And I think, to quote it, I literally still have the chorus in my head, but it was like, free your horses, Savannah's burning down. And it was like this really cool song came out of just like, hey, this is a common phrase or something that's well known. Let's do the opposite of that. So it's just a fun. I just love songwriting. There's so much you can do with it, and just creativity and exploring ideas. It's just a fun time.
I want to explore the idea behind same record, Rather Hurt You Now, which is a duet with you and Justin Love. And Was that a song written between the two of you? And is this coming from a situation between the two of
Definitely not between the two of us. We're great friends, and he was actually one of the first people who like kind of helped me get connections in town. And I met him in a crazy way because I was playing, not to ramble, but I was playing a festival in Gallatin, and I had someone who was like supposed to play guitar for me, and then they got booked for an arena show like 2 days out. So then they like, and I've never talked to that person again. Like, no hard feelings, but I just like lost touch or whatever. I think I found him online, but then he got Justin to cover for him, and then me and Justin like became really good friends. So it's kind of one of those like universe aligning for you type of things.
you?
But
Well, was this a song that you at least wrote with him, or where did
yeah,
the
so
song come
we
from?
he was the co-writer on it. And that's why I wanted to include his voice on it too. One, because he's like super talented, a great singer. And we actually have two versions of it out. So we have like the full band version because that's kind of what made sense for the EP, but the we also recorded an acoustic version just because we love the song so much and wanted to put out a version that was more aligned with just like our original like how we wrote it originally to be a little bit more slower and stripped back.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was really fun. I think I was inspired by just like I had like a guy friend that I could tell kind of had a crush on me, and my whole philosophy on that is you got to just I'd rather hurt someone now than later. Like I think that was like the idea that I had where it's like it's better to tell someone the truth even though it'll like probably hurt. I'm trying not to like be redundant here, but
No,
like tell them the truth up front so that they don't waste their time and their energy like trying to court you when they could be out there, they face this rejection now and then they can move on with their life and actually find someone who loves them instead of someone who's just like not feeling it. So I
yeah.
brought that idea in and Justin's a fantastic writer in town, like with his own stuff, and like he knows everybody. He writes with everybody, so we that was like I think that was our first. I think that was our first write together, and it just like this one of those writes where the ideas are flowing and the song just comes out, and then you finish it like relatively quickly, and you're just like, man, this was a breeze. Let's do it again. So yeah, it was
It's
good
a
fun.
great song, and it'll definitely save a lot of could save a lot of people a lot of time, energy, and just talking to an empty chat box on their phones. Uh, Name your app for that one. The title track on that record, Dandelion. It now that one also has a music video attached to it that also kind of has the your theater background comes into it and has a story underneath it with a dancer, and it's I don't want to say it is by the numbers anything, but it is very much the you're beautiful no matter what they say in line kind of songs. And but just how you turn the phrase dandelion and made it empowering was very very clever. A lot of songs like that I've heard the writers have said that they wrote it to pep themselves up. Was that true for you in this song?
Yeah, I think the idea behind it is like what I would say to like, it's kind of like a letter to my inner child, And so that's kind of what we're seeing like in the where we tried to execute in the video was like obviously we create like this magical dream, I got to have a little bit of whimsy with everything I do. But that's essentially what it is. It's like if I met my younger self who, you know, was a kid who liked music and wasn't always, had a lot of energy and just like didn't always feel like I like fit in. Um and had really big hair that people made fun of sometimes. Like I think, that's kind of a callback to like that time of my life, but also like this current time in my life when I'm like trying to do the music thing and, on the struggle bus and just trying to figure it out and uh you know like feeling out of place and feeling like you don't fit into a world of 9 to 5s,
Mm.
and that's kind of so it's kind of exploring the feeling I'm feeling as an adult that I also kind of felt as a child when you're an artistic person, you know, who doesn't always like fit in the mold, and you get a little, you know, I don't want ostracized is like a strong word. I was never that, but I think just like feeling out of place or feeling like you don't belong or feeling like you're struggling like in a system that wasn't meant for you. And so that's kind of the was the thought behind that. But I wrote it in a way where it's like I'm, you know, my evolved self who has self-acceptance and like has learned to love all these things about myself and see it as an asset instead of a liability, and talking to like my younger self who you know, might not have felt that way.
Well, as you sit with this really great catalog of stuff, I do want to throw one more song out there, which almost kind of reads as your breakthrough into the sun. It similar story as well. I mean, as and if I'm remembering your bio correctly, that was kind of your first shot across the bow at Nashville, and got some really good returns. A radio station had it as his number one song at one point. So was this before or after you had put down a deposit on a place in Nashville?
So actually that's really funny. I wrote that song when I was studying abroad in London.
Hmm.
And I was studying Shakespeare with like the Globe Theater, and then also studying like British history and stuff. It was kind of like a
You have
combined
been to the
six
Globe.
credit thing. Yeah, I've been on the Globe.
Oh
We
my!
did some Romeo and Juliet and some Twelfth Night, and we got to like rehearse on the Globe stage, and
She
then
doth teaches the torches to burn bright. It seems as though she sits upon the cheek of night like a rich jewel in Ethiop's here, and I can go on.
I love it. Yeah, I've got parts of that memorized still for sure. Um, but yeah, I so we got to like run our lines on the actual Globe stage, which is like crazy. And then our final was at the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse. That's like kind of in the Globe, but it's like the smaller indoor stage that has like the real candles, chandeliers, and it was just like a very magical experience. Um, but in college, I had gone through, you know, kind of as one does, your like college situationship that like ruins your life a little bit.
Oh, I
So this
get
was
it. With a
about
fine mume, actually.
but we so I, you know, as one does when they're like I'm going through some stuff, you think I should just leave the whole country, you know, I should just get out of here. I should go across the ocean
Probably
to
what I
feel,
should have
you
did.
know. So that's kind of that's what I did. I mean, it was for school and studies and all that stuff, but
Right,
like
yes.
also I was like my heart is broken. I need to get out of here. So I, you know, I went and I had some incredible experiences, and then I like ended up meeting somebody there who I just felt like kind of gave me like just renewed sense of like hope again, like oh, like guys can be nice and good and these things. So that's kind of what it was inspired by. And a fun little fact about that is that I actually wrote the verses in iambic pentameter, not on purpose, but it was just because that's, you know, that was the world that I was in, and like what I was studying, what I was, you know, and like and then I went back and like I think like a year or something later, and being like, oh my gosh, like I wrote that like da 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 da, you know, I wandered down an empty broken road da 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 da, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even do that on purpose, but I was like because I was surrounded by Shakespeare, you know, studying it for hours and hours a day and rehearsing, it was just like in my brain. So, um, that's a little sidebar of like it's so
Well,
important for artists to
let me
like
dive a little deeper into that because
yeah.
as somebody who studied Shakespeare and in a micro sense, you were able to actually use the meter, the iambic pentameter to write a song. On the more macro level, how do you feel that Shakespeare influences your writing now,
Um,
if at all?
Yeah, I don't I that's a good question. I first I want to say like it's so fun when an interviewer asks like fun like interesting questions besides just like the basic ones. Like I'm happy to answer any questions, get my name out there, but it's I love it when like it makes me think. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate you like really listening to all my songs and like, you know it.
I'm an
kudos
artist
for
too, and I've sat
that.
across enough people. It's like, oh, so when did this come out? And when did this come out? I don't like sitting through it, so I try to give a better experience to that. So I appreciate you saying that. But Shakespeare.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I studied a lot of Shakespeare, especially like in college. Like I took a playwriting class. I did a whole like just English class on like Shakespeare. So we did like the sonnets and some other works, but I feel like it's not I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh, I want to like write like Shakespeare, but I think just because kind of like the violin, it's like I something that I learned that's like in me that like I may not necessarily be out playing violin every day, but because I have like those mechanisms in my brain, it probably does like influence the writing somehow, or it's just, tools and things that I've learned unconsciously like become part of the process.
Well, the process is ongoing, and the question is never what do you have anything coming out? The question should be what's next. So what's next? What do you have coming out next?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm the type of person that wants to do everything all the time. And I wish I had just like blank checks to do everything I wanted to do.
Don't we
Um,
all?
but so I have a cover song coming out of a Taylor Swift song called You're Losing Me, and I'm very excited about that. It's pretty much, and this is like I haven't announced it formally yet, but when I do interviews, I feel like people should get an inside scoop. So, here's the inside scoop on that hasn't been formally announced anywhere else.
Yeah,
But
that was from the Midnight's record, if I remember correctly.
yeah, so it's interesting because it wasn't on the initial record, but it was one that she just kind of put out on like one of her variants, like when she was like going through her breakup was announced, and then she kind of put that song out, um possibly to be like
Yeah,
explaining
I
this
think I think
breakup.
that was the Maddie Sheets breakup, correct?
Hmm?
The lead singer of the 1970s.
Oh, no, no.
I know
Yeah,
too
no.
much about Taylor Swift
No,
to
you're
care
good.
to know.
I'm like
So,
I'm a big Swiftie. I believe that was when it was her and Joe Alwyn broke
okay.
up. But
Okay.
everything's alleged, right? She doesn't name names, but it was around that time, that was the
Let's not
story
go
out
too
there.
deep into Taylor Swift conspiracy and parsing lyrics, but
Yeah,
why
for
why did
sure.
this song speak to you?
I just, I wanted to backing up. I played a writers round in town. It's called the Swift Artist Showcase, and it's basically like if you're like a fan of Taylor Swift, like fans of Taylor Swift doing a writers round. So you would do one Taylor Swift cover, and then you would do like your like three originals, and like that was like fun for me because I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. Um, I was like, yeah, this would be a fun one to do acoustically because that song is such like it's very electronic. Um, so I was like, this would be a cool one to try to do like an acoustic emotional version of this song. And then we did it for that round, and I was like, wait, this actually sounds really good. Maybe we should like record a cover of this. So that's how that came to be. And I'm very excited about that. We're kind of in the final stages of that. And then alongside that, I had kind of a collection of songs that I just like I've loved, but they never made sense to like put out or like release as a single or put on a project. But I wrote one that kind of tied a bunch of these songs together like thematically. Um and so I'm gonna be putting that out as an EP, and I'm not gonna like reveal too much about that. But there was just one song that kind of tied all these other songs that I've been wanting to release, but just it didn't make sense to. Um, and that's gonna be a more like stripped down acoustic project, which is like the total opposite of like who I am as an artist. But it's like one, it's great because budget wise it's a lot easier on me. But two, like I'm like a maximalist, and I'm not the type of person who's gonna just like strip things down or make things simpler like to be able to afford it. Like I'll just figure out how to pay for it or take out a loan or a credit card or something and like make it work. But what's cool about this is it's something that would be, you know, more acoustic, more stripped down for an artistic reason and not for like a budget restrictive reason. Like I have like a vision for it. And like that's I don't know. It's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be like different than, what I've done before. And it's just fun that it's like I found a way to do something a little bit less maximalist, but it's because that's what makes sense for the art and like and the vision of it, and not just trying to save money. So I'm excited about that, and we're gonna start working on that once this other song comes out.
I did just that with my previous record, Letters to the Defendant. That was just the band that I heard. The band that I heard was a bluegrass band. Didn't have any drums. It was just all acoustic. So sometimes the band sounds like Flats and Scruggs. Sometimes it sounds like the 1975. But we have a nice way of closing here on the craig-veltri interview, Brina. It's called the No Kidding Questionnaire. A couple of rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Whenever you're ready, and away we go. Childhood celebrity crush.
Childhood celebrity crush. Ooh, childhood. Um, Taylor Lautner.
So you were Team Jacob, obviously.
What's funny is I was Team Edward because I read the book, so I was Team Edward, but like, and I hated the character Jacob like in like from the books, but then on screen, first of all, Taylor Lautner was just hot, and then like he actually gave me more. I became more sympathetic to that character because of his performance. But I mean,
and
that
just
six
what before
pack,
Bella
like
did to him. But
when he beefed up for like the second, like they're gonna recast him, and then he was like, "No, I'm just gonna work out like crazy," and like thank God because we were all blessed.
yeah, I think any guy who has a tan and brown hair just kind of look at him and is like, okay, maybe I can someday. But what was your favorite subject in school?
Definitely language arts, so like English reading.
Uh, did you mentioned Shakespeare? Do you still have a favorite book or poem or any kind of writing from back then that you still read?
Um, I love like 12th Night because that was when we were studying that. That was like the play that I was doing, and also because it's my one of my like favorite movies, She's the Man, is like inspired by that.
Yep.
So and it's so funny because as a kid, I was like, why are all these names so interesting? And then I like realized it was the Shakespeare play. So, um, and then I got to like it was like full circle because then I got to like play viola in my my study abroad. So.
One more question about your acting, and maybe there may be one more coming up ahead. But uh, if dream role, you will beg your agent until Kingdom Come for you to play what?
Oh, probably like Elphaba and Wicked.
Mm.
Or just honestly anything in Wicked, like a tree in the background in Wicked. Like just
I mean, hey, it might get you a union card if you did that. So, uh,
Hey, yeah, I'll take it. But
what occupation other than your own would you like to attempt?
occupation. Like a job
Like a job.
or just hmm. Like if I wasn't gonna be a singer.
Exactly.
Probably a marine biologist.
Hmm.
I am like very into Shark Week. It's like a holiday for me. Like I go all out. Like we hosted a Shark Week party this summer. Like it's no joke. And I'm the resident like, you know, from watching Shark Week, shark expert among my friends. So probably that. I'd be out like tagging great whites.
Have you had the opportunity to be in a cage near sharks or anything like that?
No, I do want to do that though. The closest I've had to swimming with sharks was at Typhoon Lagoon at Disney, where they have that little like shark swim by. And I mean, those are probably like I'm not entirely sure what type of sharks they were, but they were definitely not the scary kind. But I would love to do the chainmail suit and everything. I think they're really cool, and they keep our oceans healthy, which keeps our world healthy. So.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. What on the other side of the coin, I don't care how many bags of money are handed to you, Brina. What job would you never want to attempt?
Never want to attempt. Hmm. Um. Probably anything where I would have to like crawl into a really small space. Like, ever like pipe repair or something. I'm like kind of claustrophobic. I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind, which isn't really a job, was like people who like go in like really like small caves.
Mm.
So anything, maybe like anything on like mining or something, like anything like underground where, you know, you don't know where the sun is and like you could rocks could block your path.
You would hate the tour in Mammoth Cave, Kentucky, and that's all I'll say about that.
I
Uh,
am adventurous though. I would, and I don't know. Is that like a if humans are like touring it regularly, there's probably some infrastructure to keep it safe, right? So
oh, for sure. It's just it's just giant underground cave, Mammoth Cave, and
yeah.
they walk you through it. It's lit, and then there's one part of the tour where they turn off the lights.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that would be a little
See,
scary. I don't know. I am willing to try most things, but I think I'd be more scared of just like, like, hey, go down this. I don't know. I've seen news stories of like people getting stuck in like a mine shaft or like it floods, and then they have to like they have a diver come and save them and like pull them out, and they have to. But like kudos to people who can do that stuff because I would freak out.
um, some can, some can't. What is your go-to food on a road trip?
Ooh, on a road trip. Honestly, like if there is one available, like Cracker Barrel, like
Okay.
it's just nice to like. I know a lot of times on a road trip, it'll have like fast food, so it's nice to just go somewhere and like have a nice sit down and it's like all the
What
the
is
country
it usually for
foods.
breakfast?
Can be for breakfast, but also like lunch or dinner. I know like there's a Six Flags that we would go to all the time, and there's like a Cracker Barrel by then. So like after spending all day at Six Flags and you're like hungry and exhausted, we would go there. I like their lemon peppered rainbow trout,
Mm.
but I mean
Uh,
their biscuits and their dumplings and just I don't know something about like being on the road where it's just like you going into a place that feels like like a country grandma's house. Like it makes the rest of the trip like manageable.
I'll catch hell since the subject has been broached. If and I don't address it, but the logo nonsense from a year ago. Did you care either way?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I think it was probably not the best choice, clearly, because people like freaked out about it. At the end of the day, it's like it's a corporation and a logo, and like I'm not gonna like there are bigger problems in the world. But I think, I do have because I did journalism and then I kind of I jumped around. I did theater major for a little bit and then I came back to the journalism school with advertising and public relations. So I did like study that. I've had some marketing jobs, so I think just there was just like somebody did not understand like the brand and what people liked about it. So I think that was just like a marketing error and they listened to their people. So I guess that counts for something, but that's probably like a pretty expensive mistake.
Yeah. Well, now that we know the venue for such a hypothetical, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, Steve Irwin.
Very that quickly. You mentioned the fascination with marine biology. Um, what would that be the most of the conversation? Just places he's seen, the animals he's handled.
Like honestly that, but also he was just like such like a magnetic and positive person. I feel like I could talk to him about just like anything. Just listening to him talk. Like if any, it could just be me sitting there and just be like him just like talking, being so excited, talking about like crocodiles, and I would just take in the aura. I grew up watching the Crocodile Hunter and Animal Planet, and so before I was a shark kid, I was a crocodile kid. And like after he died, then I don't know, I was a little bit of a lost soul for a minute, and then I got adopted by Shark Week. But I was very when I was younger, I was very into like crocodiles and reptiles because of watching Steve Irwin. A little bit Jeff Corbin too, but like mostly Steve Irwin. And now like I was rude. I voted for Bindi and Robert both on Dancing with the Stars, and they both won. So I just it's just like a global treasure, like gone too taken from us too soon.
Shocking day in my youth too. Uh, what is Brina your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. Um, that's a good question. Let me think on it. I think, and again, like this type of stuff is no big deal, right? So, but when people like are like telling a story, but then they like get sidetracked and then like don't like tell like the like I don't know. I like a good story, right? So I want to
Mhm.
know what's happening next. But then they'll get like caught up in a little detail and then like kind of get away from the main story. And then you're not like telling me like the resolution of the story. And I'm just kind of like, I'm sitting there and I'll smile and I'll like nod and be like, yeah, but and in my mind I'm like, okay, but like what happened with this part? Like why are we don't need to talk about like what color the curtains were. Like, just
Just the facts, ma'am.
yeah, like I don't know. I can be impatient, so I just like sometimes yeah, that's like a little thing where I'm just like, wait, I want to know what we were talking about before.
I'm guilty of that too, and I understand how that ramble can happen because maybe it's a fresh story or a story that hasn't been told in a while, and just new details are kind of being formulated. But I I hate it when it happens to me too. So I agree. Last question of the questionnaire, Brina. And in fact, a side question since somebody's gonna ask as well. Short for Sabrina, or is that in fact your name on the certificate?
Oh, my name on the certificate is just Brina. My parents were like, she's like almost gonna have her name on a keychain, but not quite.
Yeah, my sister and probably my second biggest fan of this podcast is her name is Maggie, not Margaret. So but she did get a keychain, na. But I last question of the questionnaire before you throw something at me. What is the best advice that anyone has ever given
Um, Honestly, it was one of my like my peers on the Shakespeare trip. I forget what we were talking about like art art theater stuff, and he was kind of saying like if if what you make makes a difference for even one person, then it's worth it. And even if that one person is yourself. And I feel like in the music industry, especially obviously the industry side of it is very difficult and like can feel impossible at times and you know, you're just like, why am I doing this with my life? And you can get caught up in the numbers and the achievements and things, but then you kind of stripping it back to like, okay, is what I'm making a difference for even one person out there? And then the answer to that is usually yes. And even if it's not making a difference for a single other human, if it's making a difference for yourself, like that still makes it all worth it. So I think I've taken that with me. And it's like funny, like the things that, stick with you because that was just like a random conversation with like a fellow student, but it's stuck with me. So
it? It probably one of the best lines and one of the best songs ever written, even if it was very much from the perspective of star Rick Nelson and Garden Party, which he just talks about a concert that he went to, and everybody was like, "Hey, what happened? You became an adult." He was a child star, but
mhm.
the takeaway line from that song: "Can't please everyone, so got to please yourself." So uh, now this we have one more bit of business to take care of here, Brina, and it should be your favorite part of the program. It is time for shameless self promotion. We got the Taylor Swift coming out. All of your stuff is available on streaming. Where can we find your stuff? Where can we find you? Fire away.
Yeah, sure. Well, on socials like TikTok, Instagram, all like Blue Sky, all the fun places. It's at Brina Kay Music. You can all the links are in one spot on my website, brinakmusic.com. It's pretty straightforward, I try to make it easy for people. If you sign up for my email list, you'll get like exclusive details about like things that are coming out before everybody else does. And yeah, pretty much just at Brina Kay on Spotify and Apple and all the streaming. And if you want just keeping up to date on where I'm at, my website and my email list.
Well, Brina, a very refreshing discography to have been perusing so far. I really do dig your style, really dig your voice, really love your lyrics above everything else, and I can't wait to hear more out of you. And thank you so much for joining me here on the craig-veltri interview.
Yeah, thank you too, and thanks for like again like really diving listening to the music, diving in and asking like really fun questions. I had a great time during this interview, so I appreciate you. And thanks, Danny Felt, for being the magical connector person that you are.
Yeah, I always give her a special thanks read at the end of these interviews. I think I'm just going to start calling them felt fines from here on in.
That's good. That's catchy. I'm sure she would love that.
Oh, I know she would. Thank you so much. The Craig-Veltri Interview, where Craig-Veltri interviews wonderful people, is a production of Scarfire Media, the voice of the independent artist. Written and edited by Craig-Veltri. Your announcer is Megan Pennington. The opening theme, Shut Up, I Love You, written by Trenton Chandler and Craig-Veltri, performed by Craig-Veltri, produced by Jack Gavin. The debut single from Moonshine Vagabonds, myself and Megan Pennington, Inside the Cabin, is available now on all streaming. The full-length record still due out on March 28th. March 27th, we are angling for a release party in Nashville, Tennessee. Venue to be secured in the next coming days. We should have an update and an announcement later this week. Keep your eye on all of Moonshine Vagabond social medias, namely Instagram and Facebook. Search Moonshine Vagabonds. Time now to update the event calendar, because you must know where we are at all times. It's Moonshine Vagabonds, and Vagabonds got to be on the road. Friday, March 6th, Dogfish Head Brewing in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, from 9 to 11 p.m. Then on Saturday, making our way back to Pittsburgh through Reading, Pennsylvania at Birdie's Inn, Exeter's Township to be exact, but Reading, Pennsylvania, from 5 to 8 p.m. For full dates, including Pittsburgh, Nashville, Memphis, and New York City, visit my website, craig-veltri.bandzoogle.com. For booking info, including full band in this podcast, email me at craig-veltri-official@gmail.com. You can find the interview on Facebook by searching the Craig-Veltri Interview, YouTube at Craig-Veltri Music, and you can find me on Instagram, or as my old roommate, the Tommy Thomas, used to call it, Instagirl, at craig.veltri. With special thanks to Danny Felt for Brina Kay, I'm Craig Veltri, and this has been the Craig Veltri Interview. With that, I'll pass. Here's Brina Kay with Heat of the Moment on the Craig Veltri Interview, proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network.